Chapter 26, The Cubicles, the section of the abandoned office level that you've probably never seen. The air was warm and filled with moisture, the humid temperature mixing with the thin fog that covered most of the level to create a wet and warm atmosphere that surrounded me on all sides. The smell of water and air conditioning filled the air as the sounds of paper shuffling and pencils writing echoed throughout the level. The floor was made up of stiff gray carpet that stretched on for thousands of miles, visible wet spots dotting random locations as it stretched down into the distance. The ceiling was made up of speckled white plaster tiles and rows upon rows of square fluorescent light panels stretched on infinitely as far as the eye could see. I looked around, my eyes landing on the maze of cubicles in front of me as I searched the area around me for danger. "This place is insane," I muttered as I began walking down the wide corridor between a set of cubicles in front of me, staring at the stiff gray carpet as I admired the calm and modern atmospheres around me. "Are those computers?" I cried as I ran over to the first cubicle to my right. An old 1980s-style box computer sat on the desk within the cubicle. A worn-out, pasty cream-colored keyboard sat in front of the computer, connected by a thick, pale rubber cord. The computer screen was black, and slightly rounded surface reflecting the light of the light panels above as it gleamed mysteriously. I pulled out the plastic black office chair and sat down, searching the sides of the monitor for a button that would turn it on as I ignored everything but the electronic in front of me. "How did this even get here?" I muttered under my breath as I ran my hands over the side of the monitor. The jagged edges on the indents of the computer's cooling system scraped my palms as I made my way down to the base of Two-minute record, guys. The jagged edges of the indents on the computer's cooling system scraped my palms as I made my way to the base of the monitor. "And how do I even turn it on?" I said to myself as I began to grow frustrated. My eyes scanned the bottom panel of the old computer monitor as I tried to find a way to turn the computer on. I exhaled in frustration as I gave up, letting my hands pull away from the computer monitor as I pushed the keyboard away from me in a fed-up rage. Damn, a 3-day break was not enough, apparently. I sat still for a moment, upset that the only electronic I had found so far didn't even turn on before I decided to look at what's around me. Wrinkled papers and random number 2 pencils littered the surface of the desk. A single bottle of almond water sat on the right side next to the north wall of the cubicle I was in. The computer and keyboard sat in the center of the desk, the large old computer monitor taking up an entire third of the desk surface. A pile of notebook paper sat messily to my left, a single fresh pencil sitting on top of the stack untouched for who knows how long. I lost my place, sorry. Multiple pink erasers lay scattered about the desk surface, some hiding underneath papers and notebooks as they sat motionless in the cubicle. Damn, I am slurring hard today. I am so sorry. Jesus Christ. An old manual pencil sharpener sat next to a cup of number 2 pencils, being the only method of using the pencils properly as it sat in the corner next to the wall. Messy, unreadable text covered half of the pages that littered the desk surface, the black ink standing out against the modern office-style feel of the level. "Well, I guess I know where to get office supplies from," I said to myself sarcastically as I pushed the chair out, standing up as I looked around the rest of the cubicle. The pasty white walls of the cubicle made the space feel lifeless and cramped, making me feel uneasy and bored. I glanced over at the computer, searching for a power button or control panel that I could use to actually use the device before giving up. I exhaled frustratedly before grabbing the almond water off of the desk and exiting the first cubicle. Feelings of boredom surrounding me as I entered the hallways separating each cubicle. "Well, I guess there is a lot more to explore than just this one cubicle," I murmured as I stared down the hallway in front of me. The endless expanse of office cubicles stretched ahead of me, branching off every 100 feet to new areas of office workspaces and intersecting hallways as the level stretched on for millions upon millions of miles outwards. The cuffs of my battered and torn blue jeans stuck to my legs as the thin fog moistened my clothing, making it stick to my body as my skin grew slimy and covered in a thin layer of water from the fog. I took a deep breath in, preparing myself to begin exploring the areas ahead as I looked around me. The faint sounds of rain from the original level 4 floated down around the cubicles, rushing past me as it drifted down the expansive maze of office spaces into the distance. If anything, this place is as calming as the original office, just something seems a bit more off here, I muttered as I stared down the hallway ahead. I began walking, my eyes staring at the cubicles in the distance as I slowly made my way down the cramped corridor. The pasty, thin cubicle walls blurred together as I zoned out, beginning to think of what was actually happening to me in this place. Am I going insane? Why are there so many levels? Places. What even is this place? Why am I here? You know what, better yet, how did I even get here? I don't remember. I stopped in my tracks as I stared blankly into the distance. I don't remember how I got here, my brain repeated, sending a wave of dread crashing down on my soul. I need to get out of here. I really need to get out of here, I said sadly as I began walking speedily down the hallway again. The empty corridor was just wide enough for two people of my size to walk down, being the maximum width of about 12 to 24 inches that stretched on infinitely lengthwise. The stiff, gray carpet squished under my feet as I entered an area where the fog was thicker. I really don't like whatever this reality is, I said, spitting out the word reality like it was a poison that would tear away my tongue if I didn't rid myself of it instantly. I stared at the cubicle to my left, growing curious before my eyes darted to the cubicle about 4 ahead of the one I was next to. The computer screen was equipped with a blue screen error, the blue panel glaring out of the cubicle's dull and lifeless walls as it stood visibly out from the rest of the cubicles around it. Yes, is that a working computer? I cried as I ran over to the cubicle, darting through the small entrance space as I pushed the chair to the side. I stood hunched over the computer, grabbing the old wire-locked mouse as I moved the cursor around the screen. The computer gave off a low hum, seeming to be the only one with the actual power and a 50-foot radius around me as it revealed its only flaw. The blue screen arrow was not changeable. Shit. It's got this stupid blue screen error, I muttered in frustration, my blood beginning to boil as I gritted my teeth. My fingers tightening over the mouse before I grabbed the mouse with brute force and yanked it from the wire it was on. Sparks flew as I tore the mouse from its wired place on the keyboard and threw it at the wall. It bounced off the drywall and hit the ground, the left keypad breaking off as the mouse spun upside down for a moment, the curved top causing it to spin like a top before it slowed to a stop, laying silent on the ground near the far wall. I'm so fucking done with this bullshit, I said angrily as I yanked the keyboard off the desk, pulling the computer monitor towards me as I ripped the keyboard's cord from the connector chip on the computer. I held the keyboard with both hands, clenching my teeth with pure anger before bringing it down on the desk, splitting the entire plastic keyboard in two as sparks flew from the memory chips and wiring. The entire keyboard made a loud cracking noise as the top half dangled over the bottom half, the entire keyboard being close to being completely split into two parts as I threw it to the ground. Multiple keys exploded from the keyboard, scattering along the floor as the keyboard finally broke fully in half, the two halves laying separate on the ground as I stared at what I had done in a dazed yet blind rage. My eyes darted to the computer as I clenched my fist. I'm so fucking done! I screamed as I grabbed the computer monitor with both hands and pulled it off of the desk, throwing it into the corridor between the cubicles with all my strength as I let it fly from my hands. The computer hit the ground with a loud crash, the glass from the screen shattering outwards as the computer rolled once, twice, 3 times over before coming to a stop on its right side. The screen buzzed and glitched, a mysterious black ink-like liquid pouring out of the shattered glass as the electrical panel inside the screen shot sparks onto the carpet. I growled angrily before taking a few deep breaths in, unclenching my fists as I realized what I had done. What? I choked as I stumbled back, crushing the left half of the keyboard into the carpet as it crunched underneath my shoes. Shit, no, what am I fucking doing? I said fearfully as I kicked the keyboard away, sending more keys flying off of its panel as it skidded across the carpet before hitting the west corner of the cubicle. I took a deep breath in, freezing in place before grabbing my combat knife from my pocket and holding it at the ready. I'm gonna go insane. I have to get out of here, I said to myself as I quickly exited the cubicle, stepping over the battered remains of the computer's monitor component as the glass shards crunched underneath my feet. Sorry for slurring, by the way. I know it's like 10 minutes in, but I'm slurring a lot. I think I'm just tired. I held my knife at the ready before I began to run, sprinting down the center corridor as the cubicles around me became a white blur. "What do I do?" I cried out to myself as my feet slapped the stiff gray carpet. The humid air clung to my clothes and skin as I ran, the sound of my footfalls echoing down the level as they floated into the distance. "How do I get out of this?" "Wait," I said as I slowed to a stop. A flash of green had caught my eye, making me slow down as I turned to face what I had just seen a few seconds ago. "Moss?" I cried as I quickly darted over to the fuzzy green plant, the foliage clinging to the lower wall of the cubicle. I had just passed as it grew from the carpet onto the rotting drywall. I guess it's so humid. It was able to grow here," I said in awe, staring at the fuzzy green plant before I reached out with my pointer finger, touching the green roots as I recoiled in amazement. "It's actually moss," I said in shock as I reached out to touch the moss again, running my finger over the moist green strands of plant life as I felt the humid air cling to my fingertips with every passing second. "Are there more plants here?" I said curiously as I slowly uncrouched and looked around, standing only a few feet away from the moss as I scanned my surroundings for my plant life. "There, what's that?" I cried as I spotted a clump of gray and white fungus. White and gray pale fucking damn. I cried as I ran over to the clump of fungus that was growing on the wall of the cubicle. Tier 3 mess up, dude. Tier 3 fumble. I cried as I spotted... "What's that?" I cried as I spotted a clump of gray, white, and pale gray fungus in the distance. Why does it read like that? "Mushrooms?" I cried as I ran over to the moss. I resigned, dude. "Mushrooms?" I cried as I ran over to the clump of fungus that was growing on the wall of the cubicle a few feet away from the moss I had found earlier. "Holy shit! It's mushrooms!" I cried as I ran my fingers over the pasty, dry-feeling fungus that was growing in clusters from the cubicle walls. It's so humid here that it's allowing plants to grow?" I said in awe as I scraped the mushrooms with my nail, accidentally breaking the chunk off as I picked it up in my hands before I could fall. "Can't you eat mushrooms?" I muttered as I stared at the chunk of pasty white mushroom top in the palm of my hand. I swallowed nervously before bringing the mushroom to my lips, not thinking as I put it into my mouth and began chewing. The mushroom tasted salty and was extremely chewy and dry. The taste of raw fungus filled my throat as I choked back tears and swallowed, fully consuming the raw mushroom chunk that I had found on the wall of a different reality as I regretted my decision. Oh, fuck, that tasted disgusting. At least I know these are edible, though, I muttered as I felt my hunger slowly dissipate within my stomach. My head slowly stopped spinning as I tried to get the taste of the raw mushroom out of my mouth. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna keep that in mind for later. I need something to drink now. That was so disgusting. It tasted so dry and pasty. Oh, I can't get it out of my mouth, I said to myself as I peered over the walls of the cubicle in front of me, spotting a bottle of almond water as I began walking towards the cubicle entrance and grabbed the bottle off the desk the second I could reach it. Maybe I shouldn't just eat stuff I find lying around in this place, I muttered in disgust, unscrewing the lid on the bottle of the almond water before bringing it to my lips and taking a big swig. I kept the cool, refreshing liquid in my mouth, swishing it around as the taste of the mushroom slowly got absorbed by the water before I swallowed, taking almost all remaining taste of the raw fungus I had eaten down my throat and into my gut. I brought the almond water to my lips again and began to chug the entire bottle, draining the cool and sweet-tasting liquid inside as I swallowed every last drop. Holy shit. But I'll never stop drinking this stuff. I wonder if I have this in my home reality, I said softly as the faint memories of home slowly brushed past me. I screwed the lid back on the almond water and tossed the empty bottle in the trash can that sat in the corner of the room. I wonder if I can bring this almond water stuff home with me when I ever do get out of here, I said to myself as I exited the cubicle I was in, my eyes darting left as I stared at the broken and mangled computer that I had thrown into the hallway before darting right. Almost choked on my own spit, damn. Scanning past the mushrooms and mosses, I began to think of more possible plant life and food sources. Well, for now, I guess I'll travel and traverse through this stupid maze of cubicles. I muttered in frustration, wanting to leave this level because I didn't want to stay in this reality any longer than I had to as I began walking forwards. Passing the moss and then the fungus as I began to go deeper into the level. I guess I'll have to see what happens, I said softly as I stared at the infinite expanse of office cubicles around me. The thin, pale fog surrounded my ankles as I began walking down the hallway, my feet slowly pitter-pattering over the gray carpet as the faint sounds of rain followed me down the level. The sounds of office work and my footfalls being the only thing easily heard as I began making my way into the maze of office cubicles ahead. Just want to, formally apologize for all the fumbling and shit. I mean, I'm trying my best, dude, and I record about 5 or 6 of these in, a solid run when I feel like it, because, you shouldn't record YouTube videos unless you're gonna have fun, and, to be honest, the random commentary I have in the middle of each of these pieces, or when I mess up, that's just me having fun with this, because, I mean, I want to get better at reading and shit, and the best way I can do that is to read a 203,000 page, not fucking page, damn, 386 page novel. We're on page 112 as of this video, and chapter 27 is actually pretty decent. They introduce a new entity, and I just want to say I'm sorry for all the fumbles and shit, respectfully, now that I'm at least 1/3 into the novel. I know y'all probably click on this video expecting an actual audiobook from someone who's actually talented and shit, but I mean, I really am just trying my best, and really hope you guys enjoy. If you want to comment, if you make it this far, comment what I can do to be better, because I will take all of that, and I'll try and be better. I'll try and fix what I'm doing. But I'm actually done recording for the night. It is June 29th. This video comes out on July 14th. I have a Florida trip coming up, and I'm just trying to get videos out of the way so I don't have to worry about recording on vacation, because I want to post every day until this novel's done, because I feel like that would be a great accomplishment. But enough yapping from me. I'll see you guys in the next one. For anyone in the compilation, it'll only take a few seconds for the next video, but anyone who is coming video by video every single day, you'll be seeing the next video tomorrow. I'll see you guys in the next chapter. Have a good day.